Hello everybody, welcome to my stop along this month's Cherry on Top Hop. Let's say that 18 times fast. This month's theme is winter, and I have 3 beautiful icy snowflake cards to share with you today. I'm showing you the products I'll be using and whatever I have and I'm using in my video that is still available over in the shop. You will find links to those in the description box right below the hop lineup. I'm starting with this beautiful plaid paper from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to go ahead and die cut a piece of white coconut swirl cardstock using this Card Essentials die set from Emily Moore. I'm going to take that die cut card panel, put it in my Misty. My Misty has a waffle flower grip mat in it. Man, I love that thing. It's so awesome. They need to make a 12 by 12 one for my memory Misty because I really hate magnets, and that's amazing. I am going to stamp all over this white panel using Catherine Pooler's one-of-a-kind stamp set. This stamp set includes these gorgeous snowflakes. They are, there's some that are small, but then there are some that are like big and chunky, and they would be beautiful for a scrapbook page or a set of cards, which is what we're going to do today. I'm stamping the larger snowflakes first, and I am using Cove blue, stone blue, and an aqua ink just from my stash. And the Cove blue and stone blue are from Catherine Pooler as well. I start with the largest snowflakes, like I said, and I'm letting some go off the page, and then I'm going to move into some of my smaller snowflakes, but I'm going to cover this whole panel with the snowflakes. Once I have all of those larger snowflake images stamped on my card panel, I'm ready to add my sentiment. So I want to use this thank you, and I want it to cover one of the aqua snowflakes, so I'm just going to take a peek and see where it would look best, and I'm going to stamp it right over the aqua colored snowflake in the lower left hand corner. I'm going to stamp it twice, and this is with the darker Cove blue ink. Then I'm going to grab my tiny acrylic block because there are these teeny tiny snowflakes on this stamp set, and I want to go through and kind of add them in between my larger snowflakes to fill out my design a little bit better. Once I am happy with the placement of all of my snowflakes, I'm going to come in with a little bit of that aqua ink and a blending brush from Picket Fence, and I'm just going to add a bit of color all around the edge of my card panel. Now it's time to put our first card together. I am simply going to go ahead and place the die cut card panel onto my pattern paper. The pattern paper is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's going to fit right onto a card base perfectly. And we simply cannot have snowy, wintry cards without some sparkle. So I am going to add some crystal stickles in little starry spots all around this card. And some Nouveau Jewel Drops. This is the Aqua Plains color, and these two, the stickles and the Nouveau Jewel Drops, will be on all 3 of the cards I'm creating today. For my second card, I've die cut another one of these Lawn Fawn favorite flannels pattern papers, and this time we're going to use some white pigment ink. This is unicorn ink from Hero Arts. So this is a white ink. It's a pigment ink. It's probably my favorite white pigment ink. If you're looking for one, this is probably the one you want. I am stamping these beautiful snowflakes, and I ended up stamping them each about 3 times because the first stamp or 2 that you stamp on to the pattern paper, it's just going to soak right in. So you need to go a couple times. You need to stamp a couple times, which makes having this stamp positioner the best. I am going to stamp just the 2 smaller snowflakes in the stamp set with the pigment ink. And I'm going to stick to the edges and leave an open space in the middle of this card front because we're going to cover that up anyway. So there's no point in taking the time to stamp it. As an aside, pigment ink takes a long time to dry. So if you want to recreate this card, be sure to stamp the pigment ink and then set that card front aside to dry while you do the rest of the stamping so you don't smudge your ink accidentally. It takes a couple of minutes for that pigment ink to soak into the paper and dry completely. For this card, I want to have a big focal image, and so I'm going to use the big snowflake. To do that, I'm going to stamp it a couple times in the Catherine Pooler Stone Blue, making sure I have a really nice, crisp, clean impression on my snowflake. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp some of these little twinkle stamps from the same stamp set in the same color, just to add a few more kind of accent snowflakes to my card. And then I am going to use the coordinating dies to die cut all of these pretty snowflakes. I'm going to go ahead now and take my dry card panel, and I'm going to use some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and adhere the big snowflake and all these little snowflakes to my card front. I'm going to use the sentiment, "You are one of a kind." I initially had stamped it right onto my card front, but I didn't like the way that it looked. And since all of the snowflakes were die cut and had that white border, I felt like it would be better to have my sentiment be the same. But the stamp set that I am using from Catherine Pooler does not have coordinating dies for the sentiments. So I'm just going to stamp the sentiment onto some white cardstock and then fussy cut it. Since that fussy cutting is going to take a little while, I decided I would go ahead and just add my little crystal stickles to the card front, set it aside to dry, and then I will stamp and die cut my sentiment. My third card design for today is going to feature lots and lots of pretty aqua snowflakes. So I'm going to start by stamping the 2 smaller snowflakes from the stamp set in pretty aqua and then die cutting them. My favorite part about this stamp set is that there are these beautiful highlights built right into the stamp set. They are so pretty and unique. So these snowflakes, that's what makes these snowflakes really unique, is the fact that they have these pretty white highlights kind of built into the stamp. They're so pretty. So I'm going to stamp all the 2 smaller snowflakes a bunch of times and then go ahead and die cut them. In addition to die cutting my snowflakes, I've also die cut 2 stitched rectangles from the die from Emily Moore. One in white and one in this pretty aqua plaid. I am going to kind of line up that plaid so that I'm cutting this first panel at a diagonal right along one of the plaid lines. And then I'm going to line it up and layer it right over the coconut swirl cardstock that's also been die cut from that same die. So it's going to match up perfectly, even the stitch marks. And then I'm going to take all of the snowflakes and I'm going to layer them up right along that diagonal line. I'm making sure that they kind of go off the edge. And I am putting the snowflakes that seem to be like the same style, I'm turning them so that each of these 5 snowflakes looks just a little bit different than its neighbor. I started with the larger snowflake. I positioned those along the diagonal line, and then I'm going to layer the smaller snowflakes on top. I thought about using that last little snowflake at the bottom, but I actually ended up going ahead and putting that last little snowflake right on the inside, so nothing went to waste. I'm going to use the pretty thank you sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp it down in the lower left-hand corner of my card. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my little sparkle stamps around my sentiment and add lots of the pretty Nouveau jewel drops and the crystal stickles. Don't forget to check out the description box and hop along with the entire design team here at A Cherry on Top. There are cards and scrapbook layouts, and Jenny McGarvey does the best planner pages ever. As you hop along, be sure to leave a comment on each video for your name to be entered into a drawing for a $15 gift certificate to A Cherry on Top. And who doesn't want that? Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Friday. I'm so glad this hop is on a Friday because I love Fridays. And I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.